So I'm Ron Huxley, and I want to welcome everyone here to Caring for the Caregiver. Um, Before we start, I just want to name something. If you're here in this space with us, there's a good chance that you have spent your days holding other people's pain. Maybe it's as a nurse, a teacher, a chaplain, a case manager, a volunteer, a clinician, a family member caring for um, a child or a parent or a family member. And, this caregiving takes something out of us, even if the work is meaningful. Actually, it's especially true if the work is meaningful. So we've got about 15, 20 minutes together, and we're going to move through 4 stages of what I call the GROW method: ground, recognize, open, and walk. You get a real quick feel for each one. And one other thing before we get going, everything here is opt in. If an exercise doesn't fit with you today, you can just breathe and observe. That's a complete way to participate too. There's no wrong way to be in this space. I'm just glad to have you here. So let's start with the first stage of ground for caring for the caregivers, or compassion fatigue. And I want to start with the body, not the head. So find a comfortable position. You can close your eyes, or if you'd rather keep them open, just soften your gaze toward the floor. Either one is exactly right. We're going to breathe together, in through the nose for a count of 4, hold it for 4, and then out through the mouth for a count of 6. That longer exhale is what tells your nervous system it's safe to downshift. So let's do a couple of those together. Just breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 6. Again, in for 4, hold for 4, and out for 6. Here's the one sentence of science behind what we just did. When you're around other people's distress over and over, your body's stress response can stay switched on long after that moment passes. That's exactly why we start here, in the body. You see, you can't think your way through, especially one that's still bracing for impact. You have to settle it first, and then you can reflect. Our second step is to recognize. So, first, let's talk about what exactly is compassion fatigue. Here's the short version. Compassion fatigue is a natural, predictable cost of caring. It's a gradual wearing down of empathy and energy that can happen to anyone who keeps showing up for someone else's pain. It might show up as numbness, a shorter fuse than usual, dread about work, where you used to love, sleep that doesn't actually refill you or refresh you, and quietly guilt about feeling any of these things. I want to be really clear about something, though. This is not a character flaw. It's not a sign you're bad at your job or you're bad at caring. It's a nervous system running on a caregiving marathon without having enough recovery. So let's take 30 seconds here to recognize what we're carrying. On a scale of 1 to 10, how full is your cup right now? Just notice the number. On a scale of 1 to 10, how full is your cup right now? And then notice what's one reason it is that number and not lower. One reason it is that number and not lower. And stage 3 are open. We're going to do something with that. See, there's a researcher by the name of Christine Neff who studies self compassion, and her work comes down to one simple shift: treat yourself the way you would treat a friend who is struggling with exactly the same thing. Not harsher, the same. Just be just as kind to them and to yourself as you would be to them. Why this matters is that the research shows self compassion is linked to lower burnout, not lower accountability. Shame tends to shut people down. Compassion tends to open people back up. So take a moment And think of a time recently when your patience or your warmth felt really thin. Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What would I say to a friend who's going through exactly this?" You don't need to write anything down. Just notice what comes up. The last stage here is walk. This is where our insight turns into action, even if that's a small one. I want you to pick one thing you'll actually do today, not someday, today. It might be taking one real breath before your next hard conversation. It might be 5 minutes to yourself between two different tasks. It might be checking in with one person about how you're really doing today. So, in your head or out loud if you're willing, finish the sentence. Before today ends, I'm going to. Let's take one more slow breath together. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. Ready? In for 4, hold for 4, and then out for 6. What we did together is just a taste of the GROW method: ground, recognize, open, and walk. But there's so much more. And if you want to go deeper, I'd advise you to take a free compassion fatigue assessment to look at burnout, compassion fatigue, and secondary traumatic stress. You can find it at compassionfatigue.net. It just takes a few minutes and it gives you a real personalized picture of where you're depleted and where you're resourced. And if this way of working can resonate with you and you want to continue on this journey of compassion fatigue recovery, not just for yourself, maybe, but for your whole team or organization, I'd advise you to start with the Trauma Informed Care certification at traumatoolbox.com. Here you can get a complete course on trauma informed care and get a certificate of completion for it. It's where we go from this short little taste to that full credentialed practice. So, just to recap today, we've looked at 4 stages for for healing compassion fatigue: ground, recognize, open, and walk. We looked at how to take one simple breath to settle the nervous system. We've then done some reflection and recognition of what we're carrying. What's on our plate today? What am I experiencing? What am I feeling? What have I been thinking? What have I been burdened with lately? Just notice it. You don't have to fix it. And then open your heart to self compassion. Treat yourself the way you would treat a friend. Notice that those weights are heavy and what you're doing is hard. And then allow yourself to take that 5-minute break, to take that breath, to check in with someone about how you're doing. And then lastly, pick one of those things to sustain yourself each and every day. I want to thank you for joining and for showing up. And if you want more resources, when Substack records this, we'll have all the information listed underneath. So I hope you'll check that out. Thank you again.